very exciting. So I moonlight for the Glendale Cherry Creek Chronicle as a political reporter. And I just want to interview a new candidate for the New Hampshire primary. He's right here on stage with us this evening. Give him a round of applause for being here with us. Yeah, so let's get to know him a little bit. But it's just an important time. No, no, why don't you tell him yourself? Here you go. Go ahead. So tell us, what's your name?
I'm Hobo, running for president. I just got off the train over there about 3 hours ago, so I decided to come here and see. I have some straw in my pocket if you want it.
So you got off the campaign train, campaign trail?
Well, actually, I was arrested for a little while, and I'm okay now. It's all right. Thank you.
Well, that's good. It's nice to have people from our penal system making a new start for themselves, especially as which seems appropriate for president. So, what's your strategy to win the New Hampshire primary?
One time I was kicked off a train in Vermont. My father was a man from New Hampshire, and there's a lot of trees.
There are a lot of trees in New Hampshire, no doubt. So, he's very shy.
I've always wanted to touch that key because it reminded me when I was... Anyway.
Apropos indeed. So, how do you feel about, in terms of things happening in the Mideast, what's your strategy for dealing with ISIS and Iraq and the dissolution of Syria?
Well, I'm not very serious, so I'm not really sure. Well, there's a lot of countries in the world, and I like there's a lot of straw on the bed of the train, and when I'm sitting down, I've got a good ride on. It happens a lot.
So,
you can have it.
so straw. So you mean padding? So you're trying to pad your campaign with money and donors. So I'm assuming that you're looking for people, potential campaign donors here. So this evening. So what would you say? What's your platform? What's your platform that you would stand on for this campaign, that you would proclaim throughout the land as far as why you're the best man for the job?
There was a time when there was a circus that came to town, and there was a small piece of wood I got to stand on, and able to get on the train easier. It helped out a lot. There was a small bottle of whiskey. I grabbed it, but the train was going too fast, so anyway.
So you're interesting. That's interesting. Well, that's all the time we have for this evening. Thank you very much. And we let's give him a round of applause. Wish him well for his hunt there for Donald Trump and Ted Cruz.
There was a story. I heard some. There's a radio over there, I think. I remember there was a station next to the Chattanooga Choo Choo. Have you ever been there?
And many times. Many memories from the Choo Choo.
So I heard, Dave, that you had some ideas. This is actually my regular voice. Candidacy. And there's some ideas floating around about maybe contests for the candidates. Can you tell us some of those ideas and how they came about?
Yeah, Mike, I'm so glad you asked. So many of you are familiar with some of the normal hurdles that candidates, presidential candidates, have to go through to make it to the White House. And some ones they're looking to add, actually, you may not have heard, one of them actually is to run it more like sort of a Cirque du Soleil or more of a circus. And so I think one of the ones they're looking at is the fire breathing. Is one, look at flame distance. Another one is look at the one where they do the wire mesh sphere. They drive right around the motorcycles and see who survives. And the person who survives goes on to the next step, which I think is a Tough Mudder, right? With the
Of course, there's the one where the candidates were instructed to go to Terrapin Station. You're probably familiar with that in Boulder, and to consume as many edibles, and I think it was a period of 2 hours. And then, go rush hour traffic in Los Angeles, see how many accidents they could get into. That was a good one.
That's a really good one, Mike. Another one online to Terrapin Station is the tube pulling contest. So you want to go start with, like, say, like a 1 footer, and then go like a 2 footer, 3 footer, 4 footer, 5. So you can pull like a 6 foot tube and still give a speech, like a 5-minute speech after that, coherently. That's another one too. Donut consumption, I think was another one, right?
Absolutely, donut consumption. There was the sulfuric acid mud wrestling contest. I believe that was scheduled for, in a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, and then the other one was to actually consume, I think it was a little jar of hard candies. And then it was also smoke a joint and then rebuild the transmission from a 73 Impala. Is that right? The car has to drive in forward and reverse.
It was sort of like that. It was to operate an F-16 plane under the influence of, I think it was 2 bottles of whiskey and 4 grams of cocaine. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. I don't know if they're out of time. What do you think?
You know, time really is of the essence for this, including this bit.
Well, if I can ask you about your new museum, Mr. Stahl, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that? You named the museum after yourself. Are you still alive or not?
For those who don't know who I am, my name is Clifford Still, and I'm speaking to you from the grave. And really, the reason I have a museum, if you didn't know, that I have a museum for myself. It's only for me. It's only for, I'm not sure why that's funny. It's only for...
The thing was, when you have an interview, you're supposed to let the interviewer ask you questions. You answer very briefly. It goes back to us. So I want to ask you, I went into your museum, I didn't see anything. Was there any reason for that?
It's because your eyes and your mind are not open to possibilities of art that come from a genius. Because only one person in the world, and that's me, Clifford Still, dictated that I have a museum dedicated to my art and wouldn't show it to anyone before now, because I had it in a barn, my barn, for my art, and no one could go in my barn until...
All right, Mr. Still. The admission was $1,000 for approximately 15 minutes to be in the museum. I've never heard of that. That's outrageous. What justifies a visitor? I mean, who would pay $1,000 to go in a museum for 15 minutes? Tell us, please, briefly. Thank you.
Genius carries a high price tag. That building, the museum, filled with my art, and only my art, because no one's good enough to compare it to my art. It's mine.
If you're on any sort of purgatory mission with this, being dead and talking about the museum, how do you do that? I mean, I find that absolutely fascinating, I have to admit.
Because the museum is my precious. And all the works of art in it are my precious. It's my precious.
Mr. Still, there's plans for a major freeway to go through your museum. How do you feel about that?
The precious doesn't like this. The precious will not condone the museum leaving with the precious. Because it's the precious. The precious, precious.
If I may add something to that, we've discovered there are some rare earth minerals under your museum that have demonic powers. Are you aware of this?
Oh yeah. That's why it was built there next to the dam. Nothing, huh? Nothing? Nobody? Everyone's done. Okay, thank you everybody. Thanks for the time. You guys have a great night.